We believe our greatest advantage is our team, and we work through teams. We work with our clients as teams, because at the end of the day, our growth is dependent upon the connections that are made, not just through the digital work that we do, but also through the experience that our team members bring to each other. They can learn, they can grow with each other.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, leading a team. And what are the core elements of leading a team for fast growth? Well, our special guest, we're going to jump right into it. Rob Volk and Megan Zeeck with Foxbox Digital. They were number 121 on the Inc. list. They grew at over 3,000% over the last 3 years. And Rob and Megan and I unpack their leadership principles, how they look at values, how they look at hiring, how they look at firing, and all the other aspects of leading a team for fast growth. When you want to grow fast, you want to learn from those that are already growing fast and figure out what's missing. And I will tell you, we had a chat after this is over. They're still working on things. They're still growing and evolving, and they're going to continue to do that. My hope is that you are growing and evolving. You are figuring out the right systems and structure as your company grows. We're all in different places, so it's not about a comparison to someone else, but the principle is the same. Are you evolving as a leader? Are you evolving as a company to meet the demands of the marketplace and of your goals? Are you evolving? Leading a team is a very important aspect of company success. And so if you have any questions about, executive coaching, because that's one way we serve clients, and the conversations that go on with our founders and CEOs and their team members, or maybe it's the leadership development programs that we have to help managers become leaders and really transform the way they think about their role of being very people-driven versus process-driven. We need management, but we need really strong leaders if our company is going to continue to grow at the pace they're growing. And that's one thing we excel at, is we are sort of an outsourced coaching and training program for your managers to get what they need to grow to that next level. So if I sparked your interest, go to genehammett.com, schedule a call. Let's talk to each other, get to know each other. Love to see how we can help you move forward. Now, here's the interview with Rob and Megan. Rob and Megan, how are you?
Yeah, hi. Doing well. Thanks, Gene.
Doing well as well. Thank you, Gene.
We're going to have a great conversation about doing great work and about how you guys lead your fast growth company. First, let's tell us about your company, Foxbox Digital.
Thanks, Gene. So yeah, Foxbox Digital is a digital product agency. We're based in Chicago, and we help clients from SMBs, mid-sized companies, and startups create awesome products across web and mobile.
Perfect. A lot's changing over this area. Where do you see the market going for your clients and your industry over the next 3 years?
It's a great question. I mean, there's obviously a lot of buzz around AI and where that's going. So we are looking into that and data as a whole, garnering intelligence from data. But our core is around building and delivering digital products, so web and mobile applications, backend systems, and that's going to be still a core of the backbone of a lot of the emergent technologies that we see.
Perfect. That sets a foundation for us to talk about this. And we have a lot of fast growth companies on here, but you guys were honored to be 121 with a growth rate of over 3,000% over the last 3 years. What allowed you guys to get to this level of growth rate?
I think I just can't say no. And that helped us really grow fast. It also probably caused a few lessons and mistakes along the way. But at the core, I think that what we do is we focus on delivering great work. We focus on our process, hiring awesome people who are just passionate about tech and what they do, and providing a lot of client value. And so it's been resonating. We create happy clients. They refer other clients who become happy clients, and the cycle continues.
Well, you mentioned the great work thing, because I think that was one of the things our team was finding out about your company. And the reason why you are able to create this kind of growth is doing great work. But we know it's probably not you or Megan doing the actual work. It's your team around you. So what makes that possible, this great work?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a Oh, go for it, Megan.
Yeah, I'd love to jump in because I think Rob, you and I would probably say the same thing, which is we believe our greatest advantage is our team, and we work through teams. We work with our clients as teams because at the end of the day, our growth is dependent upon the connections that are made, not just through the digital work that we do, but also through the experience that our team members bring to each other. They can learn, they can grow with each other.
You guys are dialed in and buttoned up. Anything to add to that, Rob?
No, I mean, Megan said it really well. I'll say in the beginning, I made a very clear intention that I wouldn't be doing, the work myself directly, because if I did, that would probably limit the growth potential. And although I did some of the work in the beginning, I did break my own rule. I think it did set us up for growth, but it really forced us from the beginning to ensure that everyone that we bring on really delivers to the standards that I set out, when I started the company.
Let's dive into the aspects of leadership that make all this work. How would you frame in or describe your principles of leadership?
My principles of leadership. So it's been a process, and I think what I've learned recently, or in the past couple of years, really, is that it's my job to set the clear vision and direction, and then really empower others to execute and to take ownership over those ideas. And it's not about delegating then stepping away and leaving, and it's really about empowering and supporting. So how can you give people the ownership of whatever initiative it is, have them continue on, but make sure they have the support along the way from you and other people to succeed.
This word ownership comes up quite a bit in the conversations I'm having with your peers that are on the fast growth company. And in fact, it goes way back to about 4 years ago when I was making a shift. I did 53 interviews in about a 2-week period. I know exactly when it was because it was the wrong time to do it, but I was so fascinated with why companies were making the list. And it was when I launched my book, and which is the wrong time to be taking on a new project when you're in the midst of this. And I asked a few questions, and one of them stood out more than anything else. And I just wanted to throw it out there to you. I would ask them, leaders like yourself, how do you get employees to take responsibility for their goals? And they came back to me and said, well, it's not really about responsibility. We want them to take a sense of ownership. Why is ownership so powerful for your company and your culture?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in there.
Sure.
And Rob, definitely add in where you feel is necessary. Ownership is absolutely necessary in all of our team members because, the vitality of our organization is, really, we depend on people being owners. We as leaders can provide strategic leadership, but we need their passion. We need their devotion to our clients in order to stay, a relevant, fast-growing business. And as leaders, it really is our responsibility on a day in and day out basis to interact with our teams, but not get in their way.
I'll give you a chance to add to that, Rob.
Yeah. So adding to that, I can give kind of a story, something that we've learned. I think at the beginning, we're a lot smaller, and our as a leadership team, we'd make decisions, and then we'd expect the team to execute. And it's kind of simple like that. But what we've learned with that is, if we make the decisions, then the ownership is kind of on us, and so there's a loss of ownership. And so, just a story to illustrate the point is, in the beginning, the sales team, which is Steve McKinnon and myself, we would scope out projects. We would define the team that we thought would be the best suited to execute the work. We'd sell the work, and then we'd work with their team, be like, hey, here's what we think. Now, go deliver. And then they would be like, this doesn't work. We don't have enough time. We don't have the right people in place. And so obviously they didn't feel ownership over meeting the deadlines that we'd set. So we flipped it, and we really pushed ownership down and empowered those in the front line to make decisions. So we brought them into the sales process early on. So they're the ones setting the estimate, the team, the deliverables. And we've done that across a bunch of aspects of our organization, from staffing, from the way we're organized to many different aspects. And it's created, I think, a culture of of ownership and collaboration.
Now, we've been talking about ownership here, and this is an area that I've studied, and I've got, a lot of presentations that I've done around this. I want to give you 6 core areas. Well, I'm going to give you 6 core areas. I was going to think about taking this a different direction, but it's mission, transparency, growth, empowerment, mindset, and inclusion. One of those today I want to talk about a little bit more, because I know Rob talks about the reason why these are successful, why we need ownership, is inclusion. And inclusion is getting people to be a part of the discussion, the process, the decisions. And if you include them in, they take a higher degree of ownership. It makes sense. How does this play out in the real world? Well, if you hand someone a task and you tell them, what to do or follow this SOP, there's very little ownership in that. But if you say, figure out the process, let's talk about it together, let's brainstorm, they've contributed in a way that they feel a part of that. It is something that is inside them that they want to see through, and that increases the level of ownership. So there are 6 elements of really creating ownership, and inclusion is just one of them. All right, back to the interview with Rob and Megan. I know this may sound like a very specific question, because I see values inside of a company as being a very critical part of how we align and how we work together. Is ownership one of the values that you guys have? Or am I missing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's take it and own it is how we phrase it.
Perfect.
And we say it's great. It's great to have an idea and present a problem that you've identified. But what we really want is for people to say, hey, I see this problem. I think we could solve it, and I'm going to need help, and I'm going to recruit people to help me out and solve this thing. Like that's the ideal.
Would you say that you guys do a fair job or an excellent job of living the values, which means they're showing up in conversations day in and day out across the organization? I know you're probably hiring by values, you're firing by values, but is it integrated throughout the things that you guys do? And if so, how?
Do you want to take this, Megan?
Yeah, I can definitely take this. So, we definitely hire for our values. We are very purposeful and in the way we lead in our intentions as well. So whatever type of work we approach, whether it's with a client, or even with each other, even just to, set up a meeting to discuss something, we always make sure we come prepared and we have our facts straight and we know what problems we're trying to solve. And if we don't, really have all of the information we need, we will go seek it out, because we're, at the end of the day, we're really here to help solve problems and make decisions possible, to move our client's business forward, to move our own business forward. And we have a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, unfortunately, there are times where, sometimes we hire people who don't fully align with those values. But our data through exit interviews do indicate that people see it day in and day out, and they see what it takes to be successful at Foxbox.
Now, we've been talking about values, and I just want to say my piece on this. If you don't have core values, you're missing an opportunity. Your values are just important tools that allow you to align together and really create the kind of culture that you want. You get to see when people are out of alignment with your values. You get to see when people are in alignment, and you get to recognize them and reward them. But you want to make sure that you're integrating this into the way you live. I call this living by your values. And if you do this well, it becomes natural. It's little pieces that you do, little nuggets of experiences around values that allow people to know that you take this seriously, and this is who we are, and how we organize together, how we collaborate, how we trust each other. All of this is defined in our values, but how we live it is how we express that. Back to the interview. I have been putting together the book and these touch points across values. Right now, we're up to about 10 or 12 different places where values touch, from the descriptions, the hiring. Won't go through all of them here to bore you, but I really appreciate you guys expressing how you're living by the values. I want to switch gears because I know we came here to talk about a little bit something else, the situational leadership. First, let's define situational leadership as the way you guys see it.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and start with this. So situational leadership, too, is a framework that we have adopted from the Ken Blanchard companies. And at the core, it's an absolute necessity for what our business needs. It's the ability for our leaders to adapt to what our people need on a day in and day out basis, at times a task by task basis. We work in a very dynamic environment, and Rob can attest to this. Sometimes we'll start the day having, an idea in mind of how our day should look. And then with one email or one phone call, it completely changes. And having adaptable leaders who can help lead people through those situational changes, big or small, is absolutely what we need in order to continue to perform at the level that we need to perform. So that's really how we define leadership, is that situational leadership is that adaptability to just take things as they come.
I'm going to be pointed with this, and I'll direct this at Rob. You gave us a story last time. Do you have a story about how situational leadership really has played out for your company?
Well, I'll give a story for how we got here.
Okay.
And then maybe Megan can answer your question directly.
All right.
So we grew really fast, right? That's why we're on this list, and that's great and awesome. And in order to support that level of growth, we hired very fast, and we were forced to put people in stretch roles at times. And it creates opportunity, but we learned pretty quickly that without the right support structure, right, they don't have the tools to effectively manage and lead their teams. And so this is where Megan's brilliance comes in, and she pulled into her toolbox and pulled out situational leadership to really help empower these new leaders to effectively manage, to empathetically manage, and lead and have difficult conversations, really rooted in trust.
Yeah. So to play on that, we hear the same story over and over and over again from our team members, especially as they interact and engage with each other. So what we hear is that our clients come to us with a lot of requirements, and oftentimes the requirements that our clients want or need do actually go beyond the knowledge and the skills that some of our team members have. And so that can actually get them excited to take on new and different work. But at the same time, it then can often lead down a path of frustration because they may not know how to take those first steps or where to go next. So we train our managers to be there to give both direction and that motivational support in order to walk our team members through that learning curve that it takes to become capable to carry the work by themselves. And we see this over and over again. And this is the typical story that you'll get in a digital agency. We're often walking down the path of exploring things for the first time. And, our managers, have enough knowledge to get people started, but it's so great to see them actually carry something out on their own. That leads to innovation, that leads us to taking on new and different things and, keeping people excited and engaged.
I feel like that brings it full circle too, because if you're giving them these tools, they're able to take ownership of the work, the team, the client experience, and that gives you guys the kind of success that you've been, experiencing. Rob, Megan, thank you so much for sharing with us, the way you have, organized the company around, creating great work and really empowering people the right way. So I appreciate all of this wisdom.
Thank you, Gene.
Gene, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic interview. We unpacked situational leadership. We talked about values. We talked about, creating a place that people love to come to work and doing great work. All of that inside this incredible issue today of Growth Think Tank. So hopefully you took notes. Hopefully you realize that we're here to serve you. Keep coming back and keep telling others about what you're hearing and share the insights, share the show. However you want to get this out there, we would really appreciate it. My name is Gene Hammett. I'm here to help you grow to the next level. If there's anything I can do for you, make sure you reach out. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.